Hey, how are you doing today? I'm okay. I'm okay today. Today I'm okay. Last week, I wasn't. Last week was pretty hard. And that culminated in me telling my daughter that I was sad. She's 5, and I told her that her mother was feeling sad. So let's go back a little bit. I started therapy for the first time in November of last year or so. What I really like about being a millennial is that we are very open about talking about mental health and self-care and the importance of taking care of yourself. I think as a mom, we're definitely expected to sacrifice more, to give a lot to our children, to sacrifice our bodies, our minds, our health, all of that, give to the family. And that's taxing. It's a lot. And that, for me, that giving really came to a head when I had postpartum depression. When that hit, I started going to therapy last November. And, it was a lot. My thoughts spiraled all the time. I was having panic attacks and going into hysterics, and it wasn't a constant thing. So, sometimes I would look fine, but I was just always I always felt like I was in a constant low state, and then sometimes it would just get really bad. But I worked through it. I stayed in therapy once a week, and we worked on strategies until it just went away. And that's not the case for all depressions, but postpartum in particular, it's kind of a temporary state, right? So I came out of postpartum, and I was thinking, okay, let me stay in therapy because I know I'm not a perfect person. It'd be good to work on myself. Let me go ahead and stay in therapy, right? And so I did, and I was at every 2 weeks because I was in such dire need to talk to someone, right? And then I kind of let it lapse. I got busy, as we do, and I just stopped going. And then last week, I had a really good and really hard conversation with a good friend of mine. And she kind of held me accountable for some areas of my life that I do need to work through that I just haven't been. And it was really hard to hear, but I needed to hear it. And so I took that in, and, yeah. And then also I've been taking this class once a week, and basically it's about how to care for others, right? Especially at their low points. So when they're dealing with loss and grief and death, and just really how to help someone who's hurting. And it made me realize that, one, I do have a deep desire to help and care for others, and two, that there is a lot about myself that I need to work through and grow from. The Bible says it's that one of our main calls is to love God and love others the way you love yourself. So to me, part of that means that I cannot really fully love others the way they need and want to be loved if I can't love myself. So I had hard conversation with my friend, and then I went to a really, really hard class, and then I went to a therapy session after a very long break and had a really hard time. And so I came out of work that day feeling really low and sad and just low. And I hadn't felt that low since I was in a depression. And unfortunately, that night, I had already known Dave was going to work late, but Dave had to work late. So when I got home and we're around the dinner table, it's just me, Aria, Malia, and my helper, Mary. And I asked Aria how her day was, and she tells me she's so excited. And then she goes,
Mommy, how was your day?
And I felt like I had two options. I could say it was good, it was fine, thanks for asking, or I could be honest. And so I want to explain a little bit about why I told my 5-year-old that I was sad. Okay, I think part of what we do as parents is that we want to give the best to our kids. We want to shield them from pain, give them all the good things in life so they feel like they have the best opportunity possible to get where they need to go into adulthood. And that's totally fine. But I think we do that at cost to ourselves. I think sometimes when we do things like that, we show that we show that as adults we are strong, as their parents we are strong and stable, and we can take care of them, and that's great. But we also show them that nothing can faze us, nothing can touch us, and they will get to that point someday. And that's not actually real. That's not true. Because we're not untouchable. We're not immortal. There are going to be things in this life that we all face. And that's not to say that they shouldn't have good times while they're kids and stay young while they can. That's not to say that they need to know all about, the bills that we're having trouble paying, or the new house we have to find, or, our sick grandmother that we have to care for. I'm not saying that they need to know all of that right away, but they should have some insight into our feelings, because that's something universally they will feel from infancy, is feelings and emotions, right? I mean, you've seen Inside Out. Babies have emotions. They've got a lot of them. Toddlers especially, they have big emotions that they really struggle controlling, and that's why toddlers are so unruly and hard to deal with, and that's why they call it the terrible twos, because it is terrible, because they've got a lot of big feelings that are new to them and they don't know how to control them yet, so they just lash out in very inappropriate ways. We can talk about that another time. My kids have feelings. Their parents also have feelings. So what a comfort to know for them that they're not alone in how they feel, that they're not fully out of control. And so one of the reasons I told my daughter that I was sad was that gave her something to relate to me with. She gets sad. She gets sad all the time. She comes back from the playroom and the kid didn't want to play with her and she's sad. And I get that. Mommy gets sad too. And what an opportunity I had to show her in a moment where I was sad and how I was dealing. Especially since she asked, right? It also is a bit freeing for me, because that means that I don't have to go and hide and cry in a bathroom by myself. I don't have to weep in my kitchen and pray that none of my girls come in. I can be open about how I am feeling in the moment and share that moment with her. I think it also allows my children to participate. And granted, we do have boundaries. You've got to keep it, according to what your kid can handle, what is age appropriate. But, and I wasn't actively crying at the dinner table, but I was very sad. And so I shared that with her. And I think that allowed her to participate in the conversation. It wasn't just something she was watching from afar and had no part in. And no matter how she would want to help or know more about it, she wasn't being kept on the outside looking in. So what she did was started eating her food a little faster to show me that she was a very good eater tonight. And she did little things that I think the way I interpret it is that she was doing little things that would make me happy. She was trying to participate in making her mom feel better. And maybe she's trying to also mimic how she feels that we help her when she's feeling sad. And how special is that I got to feel cared for by my 5-year-old. This little girl, this brilliant little girl that I give so much into and I pour so much into, she was ready to start giving that back to me. That was something. And I also had to tell her that it was okay that mommy was sad right now. That I wasn't going to stay that way, that I would feel better at some point. I don't know when. And that she didn't have to try to make me feel better. Though I totally appreciated her completely clearing off her plate. Fantastic. I wanted Aria to also kind of understand or get an idea that it wasn't her job to try to make mommy feel better. And it was, I love her for trying. It actually really meant a lot to me that she tried. I'm really raising a caring daughter. I didn't want to hide my feelings from her. I didn't want her to think that she's the only one who has feelings. I gave my daughter the opportunity to participate in my sadness. I gave her the opportunity to care for me and to express love. And yeah, I don't think I would change that. So that's why I told my daughter that I was sad. I think that's where I'm going to end this video for today. It's hard being a parent and caring for others. Really, honestly, if we're getting down to it, it's hard being a person. And the least we can do is just try to get through it together, right? This is something else that maybe you can relate to. Know that you're not alone in feeling sad. Or maybe just a little validation that it's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to try new things. You're not going to get it right. I don't always get it right. I definitely don't always get it right. But, you know, you could work through it. Be sure to like this video, especially if it helped you. Leave a comment below if there's any other topics you'd like me to talk about or any questions you might have. And don't forget to subscribe. I am going to try to keep going with a video every 2 weeks or so, or how often my kids permit me to, because yeah, that's real. And yeah, I think that's about it. See you guys later.